Hello there, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the podcast. I'm joined today by Duncan Balcon, and in the Peterborough studio. Is that right? Peterborough studio.
Yeah, Peterborough studio. It sounds so glamorous.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, isn't it? Yes, it was like Jake recently. He's just moved out of London, and he's moved to Harpenden. So I don't say the London studio now; I say the Harpenden studio. So yeah.
No, Harpenden, yes.
Yeah, so he's gone. Yeah, he's gone to the burbs. Okay. So today, which story did you pick out from Watson's Daily?
Yeah, so I picked out, it's kind of like a pair of stories, but I'll try and word them into one. So the original story is from the FT, and it's about US targeting our kind of pork, poultry, and seafood markets.
Mm-hmm.
So this is on the back of obviously the trade deal announced last week. The Americans, farmers particularly, are kind of getting excited about what they were told was about a $5 billion opportunity. Which it turns out is actually nearer 950 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of more about kind of hormone-free beef. I think that's important for what we're about to talk about in a minute, and ethanol. So I think any sort of deal with the US that impacts our farmers is going to be really closely scrutinised, particularly as at the moment there's very different standards, product standards. So a lot of farmers and food producers in this country will be concerned because at the moment, chlorine-washed chicken and hormone-fed beef are okay in the States. Now, chlorine-washing chicken hasn't been okay in the EU since the late 90s. So I think there's that natural concern that actually farmers over here might be competing with US producers for price when they're being held to different standards. So I think perfectly valid concern. Like I said, however, that trade deal actually at the moment relates to hormone-free US beef, which I think is a key thing because obviously the hormone-fed beef is what people are concerned about. At the moment, it doesn't really mention the chlorinated chicken too much, although the Americans are saying that's not all that important to the trade deal, which, take that with a pinch of salt, I think.
Not chlorine, then?
British farmers, I think, have been...
Sorry.
A pinch of chlorine. That's a way to ruin a dish, isn't it?
Yeah. And a surefire way to a surefire way to make it deadly. That's the other thing. Anyway, yeah. So,
just imagine you cooking your family, wok in one hand, chlorine in the other. So British farmers, I think, I've had a tough time recently anyway. Kind of competing with obviously price of everything going up whilst trying to keep their actual prices down so as not to impact consumers too much. Then we had the whole inheritance tax on farmland thing that they're really not happy about. So I think this could potentially be another area for concern for them if there wasn't a level playing field. And that's kind of what they're asking for. If there's a level playing field, they're fine, but they don't want to be undercut by cheaper US produce that doesn't meet the same standards they have to meet. And I think that's a perfectly legitimate concern because I don't think the average consumer is going to pick a more expensive British product over a cheaper American one at the moment. Because at the moment, people are so concerned on the whole, I know there are exceptions to this, but so concerned about the amount of money they're spending on everything that if there's a cheaper option, I feel like they'll go for it.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that this is kind of legislated and that those same standards are forced to be met because I can't see consumers siding with the British producers just because they're British. I think we're well past that level of loyalty when it comes to produce, particularly with how much people are struggling in general with everyday bills going up. Now, we were talking earlier and we said that actually, should it happen and should they be allowed to sell chlorinated chicken and hormone-fed beef in the UK, you can see the NFU putting up some fantastic marketing things, and I think I joked about an advert with chickens swimming around the swimming pool.
Duncan, you need to. I think you need to take a bow with this one. This is an absolute genius idea of marketing from you. I don't think you need. Don't hide your marketing light under a bushel here. I think that your description was brilliant. you close up. It starts off, you're closing up on the chicken.
Closer with the chicken, yeah.
And then as the camera pans backwards, you see the chicken is swimming in a swimming pool full of chickens who are also swimming. I mean, and then saying the line, something along the lines of, "Would you eat this chicken?" I mean, I think that's got to be up there. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, if the NFU marketing department want me, I am available. Fairly cheap.
There you go. I think you're a genius. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, I suppose the other thing is that the Americans, they're saying that, I think the agricultural minister there is saying something along the lines of, well, they're moving away from this chlorinated chicken thing anyway, so it's not that difficult for them to, stop them from jumping in swimming pools and stuff. So anyway, it's a really interesting point. Farmers have been under pressure for so many things, like you say. There's all, and there's they're under pressure for costs for employment as well. Because not many people, the traditional source of labour for in a lot of farms has been from, well, Central and Eastern Europe. That obviously went down because of Brexit, and it's still not amazing at the moment. So this is just another thing that farmers have to deal with, I think. So yeah, it's pretty tricky at the moment. It's always been tricky, but I think it just continues to get more difficult.
Yeah, I have to be careful on the subject. Every time we talk about farmers, because I come from a family of them, not to get overly passionate about it, but I firmly believe that if we don't look after our farmers, we run out of food at some point in the future. So, so yeah, I think that's a really important one to make sure that, like I said, is done at a legislative level. I hate that word, legislative level, so that there has to be parity. And I think after that, then, in theory, surely the British produce would end up cheaper, because it can't be cheaper to grow it in the States and ship it if you're having to meet the same standards, potentially. But like I say, it's an area to keep an eye on, I think, particularly if you've got interest in farming. So yeah, maybe they should, quite interesting, and obviously evoked rage.
Yeah, of course. I mean, maybe they should see if they could get the chickens to swim across, swim over to here. I mean, that way they won't change the taste of chlorine, but they'll be pretty muscular by the time they get over here, wouldn't they? So I don't know.
Pretty hench and slightly salty.
It's slightly salty. Yeah. Don't put any salt on this chicken. It's already got it in. But anyway, yes. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. So anyway,
idea.
Okay. So let's move away from swimming chickens. And I thought there was a really interesting story today about there's a growing trend of startups helping creative industries sell AI. They're helping them sell their content to AI groups like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Meta, Google, and this is all about kind of helping creators protect their copyright. And I think so at the moment. So in this really good article in the FT, and it was talking about Pip Labs, got nothing to do with Labradors. Vermilio, created by humans, pro rata, narrative, and human native. So these are some of the companies that do various things to help creators get money for what they do. And I think that this is it's a good thing. I do think that they need scale, because if let's say they're consolidated into, let's say, 2 groups, then they will have a lot more power when it comes to negotiating with the likes of OpenAI, Meta, Google. In a way, I kind of wonder whether it's almost a bit like Spotify or Apple Music, how they do licensing, and they and they pay artists per download, that sort of thing. I mean, I've no idea. I've literally thought of it this second because I didn't say this earlier, did I? So I don't know, Duncan. You
Nope.
inspire you inspire me. It's the chickens. It's something I don't know. It's what's done to it. But basically, so I'm sort of thinking, well, could this be something like they become like a Spotify or an Apple Music, and let's say every year or something, or every quarter, every 6 months, whatever it is, a reasonable intervals, they have they have meetings and they decide what they're going to pay per download or appearance, maybe something like that. But at the moment, it sounds we're at the very early stages. We're at the Napster stage. There you go. That's how old I am. We're at the Napster stage where
Wow.
where basically all this music is getting ripped, left, right, and centre. No one's paying for it, and it's all getting a bit tricky. So this is where maybe these guys need to get together, have a bigger, get some heft behind them, and then they can get proper deals with OpenAI, Meta, and Google. So I think that this is interesting. It's a new area. Something needs to be done because already AI models have sucked up so much content. But I mean, actually, again, sorry, you inspire me, Doug. You inspire me.
It's good to know.
What about, why doesn't Spotify do this? Why doesn't Spotify do this as a new source of income? Why don't they? Because they can say, well, look, we've got this expertise in how to get people, how to get companies to pay for our content. So let's do it for AI. There we go, Daniel Eck. You can have that one for free. Well, actually, ideally not for free. If you could give us a percentage, that'd be pretty good. But
small commission would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. But I do. Why not? Why not? There you go. Sorry. Right. Okay. I shut up now. What do you think?
No, I think you're right. I think because obviously people like Spotify have excelled in content distribution without really owning any of it. I think that lends itself naturally to this, and I think the potential market here is huge for this sort of thing because at the moment AI really needs to learn from humans. That's kind of where we're at, aren't we? We're at the point where it can do some things, but it really needs to learn and able to, in order to take over some of those kind of human functionalities. So I think that's obviously the point we're at. I think, like I said, the marketplace for this could be potentially huge. I just think there are a couple of things. I think, like you said, the collaboration here, I think, is going to be really important. Because at the moment, you've got a very David and Goliath thing going on with your likes of OpenAI and Meta and things, compared to, I would imagine, that list of companies you read out earlier, most people won't have heard of most of them.
No.
Whereas most people have heard of OpenAI and Meta. So I think you almost need that collaboration to, like I said, to give them just a fair fight in that negotiation. Otherwise, the big company is going to get a really beneficial deal and everyone else is a bit stuffed. And I think that then leads on nicely to the other thing, I think, which is the financial structure of this, I think, needs to be sound, because the worst case scenario, I think, for this would be creatives putting their content out there, getting paid a measly sum once, and that being that. So I think, like I said, the kind of that model you mentioned with Spotify, where it's almost a royalty style model, I think needs to be there in order to kind of maintain and prop up the creative industries, because there are so many, I think, content creators at the moment worried about what the future looks like work-wise as AI starts to get more and more prevalent. And I think the only way of keeping that fair is having something like the Spotify-style royalty structure, where actually 10 different AI bots have used your article this week, therefore you get paid per article use, rather than here's $150 for that article, now bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, so, I think, the more you say that, the more I think about it, the more I think this makes sense. And actually, because ChatGPT and stuff, they have already been using material from musicians makes even more sense that Spotify and Apple Music, etc., should get should be involved in this, because they also have an interest. They also have an interest in it. So yeah, I think obviously it's early stages, but something should be done ASAP, because there's a lot of revenue is being lost. Is falling between the cracks, and OpenAI, Meta, and Google. They're all benefiting from this free stuff, which they're not really allowed to have. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like a moral thing, I guess. So yes,
there's nothing legally stopping them, is there? So
yeah. But there we go. So who knew? I mean, when we started this podcast, I didn't realise that we were going to be suggesting a new revenue stream for for Spotify. But hey, that's the joy of talking, right? So yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. So do you have any other thoughts at all on this, Owen?
No, I think that's a really good place to leave those two stories. They're both really interesting. So
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to leave both of them.
Cool. Okay. Well, look, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Keep being inspirational.
Thank you.
And we'll see. We'll chat again soon. Say not tomorrow, because I'm going to this conference in London. But thank you very much indeed. See ya. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Bye.